Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to talk about elasticity, plasticity, elastic deformation, stress and strain. Before discussing about stress and strain, let us discuss about two mechanical properties of solids. One is elasticity, another one is plasticity. Before that, what is a solid body? A solid body or a solid has a definite shape and size okay, but they are not perfectly rigid. A rigid body generally means a hard solid object having a definite size and shape. But in reality, bodies can be stretched, compressed and bent by applying sufficiently large external force on it. So, solid bodies are not perfectly rigid. For example, a rigid steel bar can be deformed when a sufficiently large external force is applied on it. So, that steel bar, it is a solid body, but it is not a perfectly rigid body because it can be deformed when a sufficiently large external force is applied on it. So, in order to change the shape or size of a body, that is, in order to deform a body, a force is required. For example, consider helical spring. It is a spring in the form of a helix. When we stretch this helical spring by gently pulling its ends, the length of the spring increases slightly, Now, when we leave the ends of the spring, it regains its original size or shape. You might have noticed that. This property of the body, by virtue of which it tends to regain its original size and shape when the applied force is removed, is known as elasticity. The property of the body by virtue of which it tends to regain its original size and shape when the applied force is removed, that is actually known as elasticity. And the deformation caused is actually known as elastic deformation. Now, think of a lump of putty or mud. When we apply an external force on it, they have no tendency to regain their previous shape or size and they get permanently deformed. Such substances are called as plastic. And this property is actually called as plasticity. That is, plasticity is actually the ability of a body to change shape permanently when subjected to external forces. Plastic and mud are actually close to ideal plastics. Now, consider a body which is static or rest. Imagine that we apply some forces on this body and the body still remains in static equilibrium. The body may be deformed to a small extent or large extent depending upon the nature of the material of the body and the magnitude of the deforming force which we applied on the body. The deformation is there, though sometimes it is not noticeable visually in many materials. When a body is subjected to a deforming force which tries to deform the body, a restoring force is developed in the body which tries to restore or regain the original size and shape of the body. This restoring force is equal in magnitude of the deforming force but opposite in direction to the applied force. So, if the applied force is along this direction, then restoring force will be opposite. It will be in opposite restoring force will be opposite to the deforming force. So, this restoring force per unit area, that is actually called as or known as stress. That is, let F be the force applied on the body and A be the area of cross section of the body. Then the magnitude of the stress is equal to force divided by area. Okay, so magnitude of the stress is equal to force, deforming force divided by area. Okay, I mean that deforming force actually it is the restoring force. Okay, F is actually the restoring force, which is actually equal to the magnitude of the deforming force. Okay, deforming force and restoring force are having the same magnitude but opposite directions. So F, that is actually the restoring force per unit area, that is actually known as stress. Okay, now what about the SI unit of stress? SI unit of stress will be equal to SI unit of force divided by SI unit of area. SI unit of force is Newton, SI unit of area is meter square. So Newton per meter square or Newton meter raised to minus 2 is the SI unit of stress. What about the dimensional formula of the stress? Dimensional formula of the stress will be dimensional formula of force divided by dimensional formula of area, no? So force, its dimensional formula F equal to m into A. So mass, area, L T raised to minus 2. The dimensions of area, L T raised to minus 2. Then divided by area, I mean not area, acceleration, okay, F equal to m into A, no? So mass, m, acceleration, its dimensions is actually L T raised to minus 2. Then divided by area, its dimension is actually L square. Area is in the denominator, so when we take that to the numerator, it becomes L raised to minus 2. Okay, so this is actually what m, L raised to 1, L raised to minus 2. Simply L means L raised to 1. L raised to 1, L raised to minus 2, that is L raised to minus 1, then T raised to minus 2. This is a dimensional formula of stress. There are actually 3 ways in which a solid may change its dimensions when an external force acts on it. For example, consider a cylinder as shown here. It is of length capital letter L. Now see, when we apply two equal and opposite forces normal to the cross-sectional area, the cylinder stretches and there is a change in its length delta L. Okay, see, this is the actual cylinder which was initially like this of length L. When two external forces acted on the cylinder and normal to the cross-sectional area, they are opposite in direction, the cylinder stretches so that its length changes, its length increases. So its length increased by delta L is the change in its length, so that the new cylinder has the length L plus delta L. In such a case, the restoring force per unit area, actually these are the deforming forces, no? So there will be some restoring forces developed in the body. So in such a case, the restoring force per unit area is called as tensile stress. Okay, now when the cylinder is compressed under the action of forces, that is if two forces are acting like this, okay, then compression will be taking place here. Again, there will be some changes in its length, that is its length decreases. Okay, we can take delta L as the change in its length again, but its length will be decreased now. In such a case, the restoring force per unit area, that is actually called as compressive stress. Okay, tensile stress or compressive stress can also be termed as longitudinal stress. It's a lengthwise term, no? I mean a process, no? Okay, so that these two can be termed as longitudinal stress. See, in both the cases, that is when the body is stretched as well as when it is compressed, there is a change in length of the cylinder. The change in length is delta L. L is the actual length of the cylinder. Delta L is the change in length. It can be the increase in length or it can be the decrease in length. Okay, so the original length of the cylinder is L. The change in length is delta L. The ratio of this change in length, okay, delta L to the original length L of the body of the cylinder or of any body is known as longitudinal strain. Okay, this longitudinal strain is actually equal to the ratio of change in length to the original length. So this figure actually shows a cylindrical body under tensile stress elongates by delta L. Next, consider this figure. Here we have a cylindrical body again of length L. Now, when two equal and opposite deforming forces are applied parallel to the cross-sectional area. These two forces were applied normal to this cross-sectional area. But here the two forces are applied. They are opposite in direction. They are equal in magnitude. But they are parallel to the cross-sectional area of the cylinder. And here you can see that there is a relative displacement delta x between the opposite faces of the cylinder. And let this angle be theta. Here the relative displacement between the two opposite vertical faces, that is actually delta x, and we have taken this angle as theta. Okay, so here the restoring force developed per unit area due to the applied tangential force, that is actually known as tangential stress or shearing stress. And the ratio of this relative displacement delta x, okay, ratio of relative displacement delta x, okay, of the faces to the length of the cylinder is L, is actually known as shearing strain. The ratio of the relative displacement delta x of the faces to the length of the cylinder is L. This is actually known as shearing strain. So we can write shearing strain is equal to delta x divided by L. Okay, now if we find tan theta here, you can consider this as a right angled triangle. So if we find tan theta here, tan theta is equal to opposite side by adjacent side. Opposite side is delta x. Okay, adjacent side means this side. This side is actually the length of the cylinder L. So delta x divided by L. Okay, tan theta is equal to delta x divided by L. That is, we can write delta x divided by L, which is the shearing strain. This is equal to what? Tan theta. Okay, now here theta is actually the angular displacement of the cylinder from the vertical position or original position of the cylinder. Usually theta is very small. So for small values of theta, that is if theta is very less, then tan theta can be approximated to theta. Okay, so here we can write shearing strain is equal to delta x by delta L, which is equal to tan theta, and this can be approximated to theta. So this figure actually shows the shearing stress on this cylinder, deforming it by an angle theta. Next, consider a solid sphere placed in the fluid under high pressure. It is compressed uniformly on all sides. The fluid exerts a force on the body from all directions, and the force applied by the fluid acts in perpendicular direction at each point of the surface of the body, and this body is said to be under hydraulic compression. Hydraulic compression actually leads to decrease in its volume without any change of its geometric shape. That is, initially the sphere was like this, but due to hydraulic compression, the sphere has decreased its volume, but it is sphere. Okay, that is, due to this hydraulic compression, this sphere will become like this. Okay, so there is a change in its volume. Delta V is the change in its volume, but there is no change in its geometric shape. This is a sphere and this is also a sphere. Okay, so this body develops internal restoring forces that are actually equal and opposite to the forces applied by the fluid. Because of this restoring force, when this body is taken out from the fluid, it actually restores its original shape and size. The internal restoring force per unit area in such a case is known as hydraulic stress. Its magnitude will be equal to the hydraulic pressure, which is the applied force per unit area. The strain produced by the hydraulic pressure is actually called as volume strain. Volume strain is defined as the ratio of the change in volume to the original volume. So delta V is the change in volume, V is the original volume. Okay, volume strain is defined as the ratio of change in volume to the original volume. See, we got longitudinal strain as changing length, the ratio of change in length to the original length. Okay, and we got the shearing strain as delta x by L. We got the volume strain as change in volume to the original volume. So just analyze these three equations. What do you understand? See, in general, strain is actually the ratio of change in dimension to the original dimension. Change in dimension to the original dimension. Okay, so strain has no unit and no dimensional formula. See, the unit of numerator and unit of denominator will get cancelled. Here also unit of this relative displacement, SI unit can be meter. L is also SI unit meter. Meter cancel. Volume. Okay, volume, both are volume. Now, this is change in volume, but it is volume, no. Okay, so both the units of numerator and denominator, they get cancelled. So, and similarly, the dimensions of numerator and denominator, they get cancelled. So, strain, it has no dimensional formula and it has no unit. So, in this video, we have discussed about elasticity, plasticity, elastic deformation, tensile stress, compressive stress, shearing strain, longitudinal strain, volume strain, hydraulic stress, etc. I hope you understood this. Thank you.